Ruiz Jr. vs Joshua 2, brought to you by Beats by Dr.Dre.
Hello, welcome to the Al Fazaleh Hotel here in Saudi Arabia for today's big weigh-in. Just one day to go till the biggest rematch, quite possibly one of the biggest rematches in recent times, as Andy Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua lock horns once again. I cannot wait. Carl George, I know you are super excited about this one. It is a fight that it's got the whole world talking, Carl.
It really has. It's a massive rematch. I can almost hear you, by the way. I got that. Massive rematch. I mean, the pressure is all on Anthony Joshua because it's a fight he's got to win. But I'm so excited because there's a lot of people out here that travelled out here to Saudi, and it's nice that they've turned up for him. But all that aside, AJ's got to do the business, and to jump straight in with Ruiz in the immediate rematch after the way the first fight went, you've got to be concerned about it.
Do you think he should have perhaps had one more fight, or would have liked to have had one more fight for this one?
If I was looking after him and I've got longevity in mind, then yes. But the reality of it is that don't make any business sense at all. He's got to get straight back in there and try and get his world title belts back, and that's what he's doing. So it's absolutely the right decision. But this is going to be his only crack at the whip. He's got to perform. He's got to do the business.
Well, you know what? Having you two here, you know a thing or two about rematches, don't you? How do you think Anthony Joshua will approach this rematch?
He needs to be totally different from the first fight. You know, he's had to answer some really difficult questions about his temperament, about his mindset, about what was going on pre-fight, and he's answered them as best he can. He always likes to give an intriguing answer because he knows that he'll get pulled apart otherwise.
Do you believe what he's saying? Not
entirely, no. And I'm not being critical of him. He probably doesn't really know exactly what to think and feel. You know, I had a few losses, and it take a while for you to process it. And sometimes what you think then, you might think later, might think a bit different with hindsight. So, much as Cole says, it would be nice to have another fight because the pressure's on for him to fight, but he's such a big name, such a big star. He had to go back in. He had to exercise the rematch clause, and he has to now go out and win. You know, if there ever was a must-win fight for him, this is it. And to his credit, right up until the last fight, he's always stepped up to the plate and always dealt with the pressure. So now he needs to get back to that mindset and go in there and beat this guy. There's no reason why he can't. You know, I think the very best Anthony Joshua always beats the very best Ruiz, so he needs to go out there and beat his best. He needs to go out, I'm sure he's come up with the right game plan, but he needs to go out there and execute it properly. Don't give this guy an inch of room and an inch of confidence once that first belt starts. You just spoke about the mental side of things there, and you just spoke about yourself and just how hard that is to come back after such a big loss. How important is it that he's 100% mentally right on the night? Oh, it's vital. This will be the difference between winning and losing. So, like, you've got your physical. You know, you have to be physically in shape, but you can only tick that box if you're mentally switched on, you're mentally there. This isn't about heart. You hear so many heavyweights talking about heart. It's got nothing to do with heart, because if your heavyweight hits you on the chin, it's not your heart that gets you off the floor. It's a mental thing. You have to be switched on and focused so that you don't make that mistake. So you don't move out to the side and drop your left hand and let Carl hit you on the chin, because you will not get up, you know? And it was the same for heavyweights. So he got caught with a big shot in that first fight with Ruiz because he switched off, you know. But he wasn't really switched on to start with. There was something that wasn't right about him. And them shots hurt, you know, where they rain in. They don't have to always hit you on the chin. They were hitting him around the side of the head, and he was concussed, and he stayed concussed. He didn't know what was going on. So, like, he's asking his corner, what's this all about? I haven't been here. And it shines a light on his inexperience as a technical fighter, as a well-rounded, all-round fighter. But he's capable of it. Well, after that first fight, there were so many questions, weren't there? More questions than answers, and so many conspiracy theories flying around about whether AJ was right. Was he right mentally? Was he in the right place? Now, Rob McCracken said something quite interesting at the press conference this week. He said this week he's seen a completely different AJ. He's in a much better mood than he was in New York. Have you seen that? I mean, he seems very relaxed. How important is that?
To me, he always seems very relaxed, and I think it's important if that's what works for him. There was a lot of rumours that things went wrong mentally on the build-up. You know, he was concussed going in, and maybe not. He had a couple of bad spars. There was problems outside rumours, but you know, we never get in the ring as fighters 100% right. We've always got issues at home. You know, we've got families, and physically we've got to get through camp. And to get through camp physically without any injuries or any bad niggles, it's hard. It's difficult. We never get into the ring 100%, but you get hit in the face when you get in the ring. probably you get hit in the face, unless you're Roy Jones Jr. in his prime or Sugar Ray Leonard, he didn't get hit much. But, fighters get hit, and when heavyweights get hit, they get hurt. And Anthony Joshua took a right hand at the side of the head, which we all saw, and he didn't recover from that shot. And it's as simple as that. It's heavyweight boxing.
I've just got to get the hair out, man. It's rather windy here today, and I'm also feeling rather short. And that is because I know that Tom can pan down. I've taken my shoes off because I'm sinking. It's basically sand down there. Don't lick my toes, Tom. That's not very good. But I'm standing in a little divot as well, so I'm feeling really small. You're loving that, aren't you? Again, in the fighters' meeting, AJ spoke about his mindset, and we've spoken about that. But he also said that he was back in the gym 3 weeks after that loss, and he was focusing purely on boxing. We've seen physical changes in how he
So last time he had to travel to the States and he got beat, I think that'll be a key factor.
How do you think that will affect it?
It's tough to travel. It's tough to not finish your camp at home. It's tough to get the flight out your legs, to be dealing with different people, different food. I mean, he's used to being paraded around and meeting, greeting people, shaking hands. I don't think anyone in the business does it better than him. So that he can
That's the thing, isn't it? This time, Carl, he's the challenger, he's not the champion. I mean, that's something that he's not had to deal with yet in his professional career.
That's right, no, he's never ever been the opponent. He's always been the guy, the ace side, that's been brought here to win and do the job. He won the Olympic gold medal, and then from then he's had a very sort of what I'd call a privileged career in terms of the matches have been right, but he's took on all challenges. He beat Klitschko, and then he defended his belts against the people that were considered to be tough challenges. When he fought Povetkin, that was a tough fight for him, and he did the job, he did the business. The only other guy to beat him before that was Klitschko. So that was a tough fight for him, and he rose to the occasion, and he did the job. And he was in sticky positions against Takam. He got headbutted in the nose early on, and we've seen him tested, we've seen him put under pressure, we've seen him climb off the floor, and we've seen him answer the questions. But Ruiz is a different animal, and he's got fast hands, he's heavy, and AJ is coming in lighter. He's going to be boxing and moving, but he's also going to have to stand and fight at times, and that's when I'm concerned about it.
Before we get onto the weight, all right, you just crept up there, didn't you? Hello, Johnny. Good to see you. Before I come to you, question for you about Rob McCracken. Obviously, AJ's brought in Angel Fernandez into the camp. Mix things up, because again, the questions were asked after the first fight. Is he going to make changes? What's going to go? Even questions about Rob, whether he should stay or go. What do you think of that? How will that affect the dynamic in the gym? I mean, you trained with Rob for many years. I
did, yeah. I mean, I'd never park my trainer up, especially Rob McCracken, because we had a kind of a relationship that nothing's forced. It wasn't a business relationship. It was like my big brother stroke father, and it was the reason I turned pro. Maybe it's different with AJ and Rob McCracken, but he's had him since he was top amateur. Robert trained him for the Olympics, and he's trained him up to winning his first world title, and he's trained him for his loss against Ruiz, and he's still there. AJ's made additions to his camp. He's made changes, and change.
Good addition, do you think?
Well, change can sometimes be good, but make no mistake, Rob McCracken will still be orchestrating everything that goes off within that gym. He's brought somebody on the pads, Fernandez, to get more work out of him and maybe do some different technical stuff. But if you look, Rob McCracken's sitting there watching, taking notes mentally, and making adjustments, and I think that as long as AJ's happy and he's comfortable, it's a positive change. So if he's happy and he wanted to make the change and it's happened, then hopefully we'll see a better AJ. But I'm glad Rob McCracken's still involved, because he knows the game inside out.
Absolutely. Johnny, let's just talk about AJ's size and his physique, because as we just mentioned there, he looks a lot leaner, and he said he's been focusing in the gym. When he fought Parker, that was the lightest he's been, 17 stone 4 in 2018 for a world title fight. Do you think he's going to come in around that? Will he be slightly lighter, do you think?
I think he'll come in lighter. Looking at him physically, he's more streamlined. Now he said in the fighters meeting, the reason why that is, it's not a conscious decision he's done. What he's done is he's actually spent more time in the gym than he did when he originally started. So what happens is, as time goes on, there's a select comes and people are dragging you left, right, and centre. You're away from home, so you're not spending as much time in the gym. He cut down those commitments. Said, right, lifestyle is the gym. So he's been in the gym all the time. So that's why he's explaining. That's why his weight's dropped. I like that.
Do you think as well that was also a statement to the public of going, right, you know what, I'm super serious about this. I'm really serious about this rematch.
It's a lesson learned. Too late, but now he has to learn the hard way, and so therefore he's thinking, right, this is what I've got to do. I've got to get me on point. I spoke to a few fighters, and it's actually the rule of thumb with a lot of fighters where when you get to a certain level, they disappear for months and then turn up 2 or 3 months before a fight, which to me is mind-blowing. I think it's got to be lifestyle. So Anthony Joshua, again in the fighters meeting, said, I've now made it my lifestyle. After the last fight, I've been in the gym. I hope he sticks to that. He gets through Saturday night, it's got to be something that becomes like walking, talking, drinking, whatever. It's got to be his lifestyle, and he's got to put the high-flying showbiz lifestyle on one side and think, this is what I've got to do. In doing that, he will learn and catch up so fast with experienced fighters like Ruiz, who's been boxing since the age of 6. Remember, he's fast-tracked and squashed it all into 11 years. And so what he's done in 11 years, amateur and professional, is outstanding. But there's one thing you can't buy, borrow, pretend to have, and that's experience. And that's what Ruiz has got him in. That's what a lot of heavyweights have got on him.
And also, Ruiz, when we saw him in New York, he was very relaxed, wasn't he? Very happy. I think we've lost Carl to Dillian White there, just walking off. He is working. Very relaxed. And again, we've seen the same Andy Ruiz Jr. this week. I mean, he's just taken it all in. He seems like he hasn't changed at all.
And he's been doing it since 6 years old.
Yeah.
And he came with a big smile on his face to say, you know what, everything's a bonus here. He's achieved history. He's the first Mexican heavyweight world champion. He looks at Anthony Joshua and thinks, I've got a beating of you. I'm used to people not knowing what's to come. The problem with Andrew Ruiz is now this. Everybody knows who he is. Anthony Joshua probably knew who he was aware of him, but wasn't plotting and planning for him. But Andrew Ruiz was plotting and planning for Anthony Joshua from 3 years ago. Now, and Anthony Joshua made a rookie mistake, which was, disrespect a standing opponent. We've all done it. But what you've got to do is, the responsibility of a champion is give everybody the same amount of respect and attention. Carl got that in his first fight with George Grove, which almost came a cropper. But then he reset that and adjusted it the second fight round.
We asked Andy Ruiz Jr. in the fighters meeting whether the win has changed his motivation, because it was such a huge life-changing moment for him. Do you think that will affect him or not?
In terms of if you think it's going to affect him in a negative way, so I know what you're saying, like win the fight, get all that stardom, get the money, and think, you know what, I've done it, I've made it. No need to now carry on. I don't think that. The guy's Mexican. He loves fighting. He turns up with a smile on his face. He enjoys himself, and if you find a job you enjoy doing, you never work another day in your life. It's an old saying, but it's true. And Andy Ruiz comes here with a smile on his face because he's enjoying his work. He loves it. And to become a unified world champion, if you think he's just going to now rest in his laurels and throw that away and come and turn up unfit, out of shape, and just lie down and roll over, I think that's crazy to think. You've got to take him deadly serious, and I think he's going to turn up and put on another A-class performance, and AJ needs to be at his best.
What do you think we're going to see differently, though?
Well, differently, I think Ruiz maybe doesn't need to do much differently. I'm a little bit disappointed because maybe he's going to come in a bit heavier. We're going to find out when we see the weigh-in.
He said he reckons he's going to be roundabouts where he was, or he's going to be slightly heavier.
Right, okay. I thought he might have lost a little bit of weight just because there's a little bit of weight that could be shifted that's probably not helping him, but he wouldn't want to come in too light anyway. If it's not broke, don't try and fix it. And the first fight for him at that weight did the job. AJ's lighter. I'm not sure if that's going to be a massive advantage because you don't want to be too light against someone who's got full momentum, because that's his style, Ruiz. He comes forward, he cuts the ring off with these slow feet, but he's got fast hands and he chops the ring off lovely. He's like a master tactician in the way he controls the ring. We saw it in the first fight. He put pressure on AJ from the first bell and he was in control of the fight straight away. That's why AJ needs to try and take that off him. But Ruiz, to answer your question, I think he's enjoying himself, and now he's on the peak of this mountain. He don't want to fall off.
It's unlike Carl to go roundabout a long route to answer the question, isn't it? Succinct, that's what we like. What I loved when we asked Andy Ruiz Jr., because obviously in the last fight week, the big thing afterwards was that Anthony Joshua let Andy Ruiz Jr. hold his belts. And when we asked Andy Ruiz Jr., we said, are you going to, let AJ hold your belts? Can't say the word on air because it wasn't a particularly nice word, but he was like, essentially, hell no.
You know what, which shows, Andy Ruiz has always had the He plays the fool to catch the wise.
But do you think that is what he's doing?
I do. The first time he did it with a big smile. If he's telling you now he's not going to let Anthony Joshua do it, it tells you that was a big mistake. He shouldn't have let him do it in the first place.
Well, he had that same vest on, didn't he, that he wore? And we sort of said, is this a thing to get in his head? And he said, yeah.
So there's little subtle things that he does with a smile on his face. He's no fool. He's been boxing since the age of 7. He sparred with the likes of Evander Holyfield at the age of 17. So he's been on the circuit. He knows these little things. He's looking at Anthony Joshua, who's amassed and achieved amazing things. And he's thinking, this kid, I've got to get him because he actually doesn't know every aspect of our game. So for Andrew Ruiz, I do believe that it's got to make a little bit of difference to his hunger, to his mindset, to his desire. This newfound fame and fortune. It's got. If I gave you 50 million, you are not telling me it's not going to change your mindset one little bit, and you're going to come to work tomorrow. You're not telling me that.
Little bit.
And he's only human, so he can't tell me it's not made a difference because it has.
Yet it was such a huge life-changing moment for him, but he still feels like the underdog, yet he's the champion.
And he smiles, but he's always had the art of surprise. He's always slid under the radar. He's always been a guy where you look at him and you think, who's this little fat fella? And he likes that. But now the problem is everybody knows who he is. All the other fighters have done their homework and looked at him on YouTube, looked at all his fights. Now they're all plotting and planning how they beat Andy Ruiz. So if he does get through Saturday night, he'll probably lose within 2 or 3 fights because now people are planning on how to beat him.
All right, so what does Anthony Joshua, what does he need to do differently? What game plan, what tactics does he need to do differently?
Well, AJ, we know we can drop Ruiz. We've seen the first fight with the left hook. We know we can drop him. Was he hurt? I'm not sure how hurt he was, but he was hurt enough to go over. Bit of a balance thing as well. But that happened. Then he needs to box and then catch him with another dig. It's going to be difficult, but he can do it.
Very quick prediction.
I'm on the fence at the minute. My heart says AJ. My head says Ruiz.
Right, we've got to go and hand you over to Adam Smith for the weigh-in.
Saudi Arabia for the official weigh-in for Saturday night's historic night of boxing action. Clash on the Dunes. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Skill Challenge Entertainment. Our title sponsor, Public Investment Fund, with help from JD Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an historic night of boxing. 9 fights in total, 5 heavyweight matches, and 4 title fights. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the fighters up to the stage so they can face the scale and face each other. Our first contest, it's a full round affair in the super bantamweight division. He's 12-6-2 with 3 knockouts, fighting out of Tanzania. Please welcome Sweetie Mohammadi. And his opponent, he's now on the dais with his head trainer, Dave Caldwell. He's a southpaw. He's really tall for the weight, 5'10". He's a young professional, only 1 fight, but that 1 fight was a victory. But he's a 7-time national champion, 2-time European champion, 2018 Youth Olympic champion. Ladies and gentlemen, fighting out of Leeds in the United Kingdom, Ivan Drago Hopi Price. Now to the scale, Sweetie Mohammadi.
Yeah, Hopi Price is only his second professional outing, but a very good amateur. Still only
125.12 pounds. 125.12 pounds.
Just inside the
8 stone 13 pounds. 56.7 kilos for Sweetie Mohammadi.
Hopi Price, Spencer. He looks a good prospect.
And now the young undefeated charge from Leeds. Please welcome Hopi
my old weight division, and trust me, 5'10"
Price.
is very tall, and he uses those attributes very well indeed. He's got great composure for a guy only having his second.
125.9 pounds, 125.9 pounds for Hopi Price. 8 stone 13 or 56.7 kilos.
Just under the featherweight limit.
Yep, 4 rounds at super bantamweight. It is a float fight, so they'll be hoping to get on. If 1 or 2 go early, they've been around all week. Diego Pacheco, who you'll see in a minute as well, the hot prospect from the States. It's Pacheco and Hopi Price, the 2 lucky winners of the float fights. What an experience Hopi has had all week here. And can he make it 2 out of 2 against Sweetie Mohammad? He's got a great mentor and trainer in Dave Caldwell too.
Yeah, Dave's seen it all and very excited about Hope and Price. He was talking to me yesterday. He said, I know it's very early doors. He's only had one pro fight. These are fights he's supposed to win and look good.
Price and Mohammadi, Saturday night, Diriyah, Saudi Arabia, 4-round super bantamweights. Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing, Skill Challenge Entertainment, live on DAZN and Sky Sports Box Office.
Yeah, interesting contest for Opie Price, an experienced campaigner in Mohammadi, and he should test him. Good fight for him at this stage of his career, so yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yep, only 19, Hopi. Still, he was a brilliant junior, won 7 national titles, a couple of European golds, World Championship silver and gold in the Youth Olympics. Now,
ladies and gentlemen, the official weigh-in continues right now. 4-round super middleweights. We've got a gentleman also fighting out of Tanzania from Dar es Salaam, the capital. 20 wins, 15 defeats, 5 draws. He's got 15 big wins coming by way of knockout. They call him tall because he's tall. Selemani Saidi. Saidi. His opponent is also tall. This is a very intriguing matchup. He's undefeated as a professional, 7 fights, 7 victories, 6 of them coming by way of knockout. He boxed for Team USA and Team Mexico, and as a junior, he was the #1 ranked middleweight in the United States of America and Mexico, fighting out of South Central, Los Angeles, California, USA. Representing Split Team Management, please welcome Diego Pacheco.
The 18-year-old from LA, who looks a terrific prospect.
Now to the scale, tall Selemani Saidi.
31, Saidi, he's won half of his 40 from Dar es Salaam, and it's a good chance for him.
Yep, good chance on a massive platform for Saidi, so I'm sure he'll be giving it his all. He looks in great shape on the scales, but Pacheco is
166.1 pounds, 166.1
18
pounds.
years of age.
11 stone, 12 pounds, or 75.3 kilos for Saidi.
Now looking at Pacheco on the scales, you like him a lot, Matt.
Yeah, I've been
And
really
his
impressed.
opponent,
He's very well schooled, great balance.
making his way
Great
to the
attitude,
scale,
very young.
undefeated
He's gonna grow,
from
he's
South
gonna be a
Central,
heavyweight
Los
for
Angeles,
sure.
California,
But,
USA,
good
the
around punches,
undefeated
good repertoire,
Diego
goes through the gears well. I
Pacheco.
mean, he just looks so baby-faced, but no, he's nowhere near where he's going to be, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far.
He's been staying in our hotel all week, smashing guy, great team around him. Pacheco could be one for the future here.
167.15 pounds, 167.15 pounds, 11 stone 13, or 75.75 kilos for Diego Pacheco.
Good work from David there, and all the different weights, the kilograms, the pounds, the stone. He is a big super middleweight. Might go up through his career, Diego Pacheco, but he's knocked 6 of the first 7 out. He's a teenager. He's got big support, big hope, Spencer.
Yep, you just hope they bring him along nicely. Just let him learn his trade. He's still very young, as you said, Adam. 18 years of age, super middleweight. I expect him to go up to light heavy, even cruiserweight. He's very big framed and a bright prospect. I'm really looking forward to seeing him performing on Saturday night.
Again, this may not make it a float fight. They know that they have come out all this way hoping to fight, and they'll be looking for an early knockout or 2. But they've had a great experience, haven't they?
Great experience, learning to travel away, being around the fight hotel, judging your weight, you know, when you're traveling as well, and jet lag and different things. So it's all part of the learning curve as well as the fighting itself. So it's a huge opportunity, huge platform that we really hope to get on. Great chance.
Team Michael Hunter just walking past us. There's about 20 of them. One of the hot hopes in the heavyweight division. It's
Pacheco, Saidi,
against
4-round super
Saidi
middleweights. Saturday night, Diriyah, Saudi Arabia, live on DAZN and Sky Sports Box Office.
It's all about picking up the experience around big fight weeks, isn't it? Even if they don't get to display their talent or say they get an early stoppage, it's what they've learned for the days around the big boys.
Yeah, it's getting used to getting onto that big stage yourself. That's what every fighter dreams of doing, and I think Matt touched on it there. You know, it's not just about the fight night, it's not just about that occasion, it's about being wrapped around the fighters, speaking to different fighters, speaking to different managers, picking up the experience. And
ladies and gentlemen, the official weigh-in continues. Our next contest, 4 rounds in the lightweight division. This fighter making his way to the stage at this time. He's a southpaw. He's a 20-fight veteran. He hails from Gori, Georgia. Ilya Beruashvili. His opponent now making his way to the stage, undefeated as a professional, 3 fights, 3 victories, 1 win coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Dubai in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Please welcome Sarastes Majid Al-Nakbali. Now to the scale, Ilya Beruashvili.
Opportunity here for Ilya Beruashvili from Georgia.
124.13 pounds, 124.13 pounds. 8 stone, 12 pounds, or 56.2 kilos for Beruashvili.
24-year-old and the 23-year-old Majid Al-Nabi, unbeaten in 3. Spencer from Dubai, so again, a real
Now to the
chance.
scale, the undefeated charge from Dubai. Please welcome Majid Al-Nakbali.
These young fighters the opportunity to get onto this platform, and yeah, it's great stuff for him. He's in against an experienced fighter himself, and this is a good fight again.
133.1 pounds, 133.1 pounds, 9 stone 7, or 60.3 kilos for Al-Nakbali.
Inside the lightweight limit, of course. Al-Nabi looking for victory number 4 here. Beruashvili is won 8 of 20, so it's a learning fight for the novice from Dubai, and as Spencer said, it's a card with international flavour.
Yeah, exactly. A guy from this part of the world. He's undefeated, he's 3-0. It's a huge opportunity for him and a chance for him to really showcase the improvements he's made and just progress forward in his career.
Matt, you've been around a lot of the week. I know Spencer's been around even longer. How have you found the locals taking to this event?
I think they're fascinated. You know, we know Anthony Joshua is a global superstar, and the fight against Ruiz was the biggest upset of the year, and for many, many years in the heavyweight division in boxing, full stop. So there's a lot of intrigue. It's a huge event. It's been very well promoted, and it's been great to see the turnout here and a lot of the local people getting amongst it all, and they're looking to see what this is all about.
Yeah, very interested to see how this unfolded really all week. We didn't know what to expect.
Al-Nakbali, Beruashvili, 4 rounds, lightweight Saturday night, Diriyah, Saudi Arabia, Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing, Skill Challenge Entertainment, live on DAZN and Sky Sports Box
Open
Office.
workout, we didn't know what to expect. It was very busy. There was people, offices all around the open workout. There was thousands of people looking down. So everybody's really fascinated by this. We know, you know, this is the biggest fight in recent times here. This is a massive fight. But yeah, the interest has been phenomenal. Really, it's been well welcomed.
Yep, huge turnout at the media workout in the centre of Riyadh the other night. And we were looking up, weren't we, and seeing the people watching from their office windows and not going home.
No, it was quite extraordinary. We didn't know what to expect, did we? And then people just come out. There was hundreds of people around the ring. We was told that there was only going to be 1 to 150, 200 people maximum. Well, that may have trebled. And when we looked up, Adam, it was quite astonishing. There was tall buildings all around the ring, and the windows were just packed with people. It was,
Ladies
yeah,
and gentlemen,
it must
the
have been thousands
official
of people
weigh-in
actually
continues
watching.
for Saturday night's historic night of boxing action, the Clash on the Dunes. This bout is brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Skills Challenge Entertainment. Sponsored by Public Investment Fund with additional help from JD Sports. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing for the WBC Middle East Lightweight Championship. Both fighters undefeated, Introducing first to the stage, 7 fights, no losses. He has 1 draw, 1 knockout, fighting out of Kuwait. Please welcome Omar Dusari.
Omar Dusari from Kuwait. He's a 25-year-old who's won 7 of 8, 1 draw, so unbeaten, and it's a clash of the unbeaten.
Making his way to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, he's a southpaw. Like I said, he's also undefeated. 7 fights, 7 victories, fighting out of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Please welcome the Arabian warrior, Zuhair Al-Qahtani.
Well, this guy has really been under the spotlight this week. He trains in London. We know him well.
Omar Dusari.
Fighting out of Jeddah here in Saudi Arabia. It's a special moment for him, for Zuhair Al-Qahtani, unbeaten in 7. And we watched him at the workout, didn't we?
Yeah, he looked decent at the workout, but he really has been loving the media attention here. He's loving the fact that he's boxing in his home country, loving the fact that he's boxing for the WBC Middle East title, a new title.
129.14 pounds, 129.14, 9 stone 3 pounds, or 58.51 kilos for Dusari.
Very decent fighter. He's got nice movement, decent, and yeah, this is a real interesting one, and really looking forward to it.
Just
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
word from Umar Dusari
Jeddah, please welcome the Arabian warrior,
Eddie Hearn there. Maybe he doesn't
undefeated
feel like he's been
Zuhair
getting the big treatment here, but certainly this guy has, Zuhair Al-Qahtani, and he's a really interesting character out of the ring as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
134.2 pounds, 134.2 pounds,
the one I'm
9
really,
stone,
really
8 pounds,
interested in. I'm looking forward to all the fights,
60.7
of
kilos
course, Dillian
for
Whyte as well.
Al-Qahtani.
Michael Hunter, Povetkin's going to be a great fight, but the Joshua Ruiz fight, I mean, that could have just sold us out all on its own. We didn't even need an undercard for this fight.
Meanwhile, while we're watching the undercard, leave us comments on the stream. Who do you think wins the big one? It's Ruiz and AJ 2. Ruiz, Joshua, who wins? Does AJ get revenge? Does Andy Ruiz do it all over again like he did in New York in June? Leave us comments below, and as we're watching the lucky undercard fighters on this card, Spencer, the atmosphere and anticipation ahead of what is one of the biggest rematches in years.
Yep, there certainly is. I mean, it's been really welcomed out here in Saudi. It's been much bigger than we thought it was going to be, but I think just worldwide the anticipation can Anthony Joshua do what only 3 other heavyweights in history have done. Lennox Lewis, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Patterson, they're the only 3 heavyweights ever to win the immediate rematch. That tells you the extent of the job that he's got in front of him.
Yeah, and you know, the circumstances as well. It's, you know, it was a knockout defeat. He was put down several times. He was hurt. It was several rounds later the fight got stopped, and it appeared the fight had been knocked out of him. You know, he was concussed. They had to go back into an immediate rematch. They had the immediate rematch clause, and I think if Joshua wasn't such a big superstar and wasn't so much other things riding on it, I don't think they would have gone into an immediate rematch. You would have had a bit of a slower
Well, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the bill, of course, the heavyweight championship of the world. But this is a heavy fight card, and now we move on to the big boys. Introducing up first to the stage, 10 victories against 7 defeats, 3 big wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome from Hatfield, England, Tom Not So
he's totally
Little.
focused on Andy Ruiz, and it's going to be a great fight. History says Ruiz wins, but we'll see.
And as David said, it is a heavyweight night.
His opponent now making his
way
to the stage.
Tom Little from Britain, who Spencer knows very well,
and
gets ready for his big moment. Remember to leave your comments below. Who wins, Ruiz or Joshua? Everybody split in Riyadh. Let us know your thoughts on the stream.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mohammed Rasul Majidov.
Well, this guy was a brilliant amateur.
Now to the scale,
Azerbaijan,
Not So Little.
Majidov. And here's Tom Little. He got here by hook and crook, rather a difficult travel exercise, took a couple of days. He was at the gala dinner last night and he's relishing every moment of this and says he's going to give it everything.
251 pounds for Tom Little, 17 stone, 13 pounds,
Another guy that just said, listen, he
113.85
appreciates it. He's
kilos.
been given another big opportunity against one of the world's best
And now to the scale,
heavyweights,
ladies and
amateurs.
gentlemen,
Just under 18 stone for Little. And here is the man that many think is one of the big futures in the heavyweight division. He is 33 from Baku, wonderful amateur, world champion at super heavyweight 3 times.
£231 from Majidov, 16 stone 7, 104.78 kilos for the undefeated Majidov.
16 and a half, so markedly lighter, in good shape there is Majidov. How do you rate him?
Yeah, rate him really good. He was the guy that beat Anthony Joshua in the world finals, beat him by a point. It's funny, Joshua saw him at the open workout earlier on in the week and he said, get me Majidov. That's who I'd like to fight again. He's only had one fight. He said, no, but this kid could come up in the rankings and come up fast. You know, he's not the youngest. They're going to want to push him.
Yep, a win over Joshua in the amateurs, but Tom Little says, don't look
8
past
rounds
me.
heavyweight Saturday night, Majidov, Little, Tyria,
No
Saudi
doubt he
Arabia,
will give it
Eddie
everything
Hearn's
he's got,
Matchroom
but
Boxing
Majidov,
in
a
association
special amateur
with Skill
talent.
Challenge
At
Entertainment.
33, as Spencer said, he's no spring chicken. Time is on his side, so if they're going to, you know, they have aspirations of replicating what he did in the pro game as the amateurs, you know, they're going to have to move really quickly with him.
Yep, time not on his side, but as we know, heavyweights mature later. Really excited about having a look at Mo Majidov, Mo as Eddie calls him. Can you pronounce his first name?
No, I certainly can't.
Let's try Matt.
Magomedrazov.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. We'll call him Mo.
Yeah, Mo's good for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the WBC International Heavyweight Championship. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Team Sauerland, Don King Productions, and Skill Challenge Entertainment. Right now, coming to the stage, the challenger. 27 victories, 5 defeats, 19 big knockouts. He's the former IBF Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion and the 2-time World Title Challenger. They call him the Drummer Boy. He fights out of Rio Grande Valley, Texas, USA. Please welcome Eric Molina.
And he loves Rio Grande.
Molina.
He's always talking about his homeland. He's a special educational teacher as well. He's got plenty of academic degrees, this man, Eric Molina. And he's fought at the top level. 2 challenges to Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua.
Defending,
but this guy could be the future.
Heavyweight champion, Filip Hrgovic.
Filip Hrgovic, who has been in camp with Vladimir and David Hay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Molina.
And he's unbeaten in 9 with 7 knockouts. The Sauerland's getting super excited about him. But Eric Molina, an 8-week training camp in the shape of his life.
Yeah, and spoke really well yesterday at the fighters' meetings. He said he's confident. He says that he brings something new to the table.
248 pounds for Eric Molina, 17 stone 10, or 112.49 kilos for Eric Molina, the challenger.
Really can't see past him, to be honest.
Eric Molina happy
Now to the scale,
with that
the
and happy with
reigning,
life.
defending undefeated WBC International Heavyweight Champion, Filip Hrgovic.
Boxing 3 World Championships, won a bronze at Rio. He's 27. He can speak good English as well. He's a character. He's 9-0, number 11 with the WBC. Filip Hrgovic, maybe a name we're talking about for a while.
Absolutely. Speaking to Mr. Sauerland, his promoter, manager, earlier on in the week, and they really have got high hopes for him. He's high up in all the governing body rankings, and they don't want to hold him back.
241.12
he's doing
pounds,
so well in the gym.
17 stone
He's
3
knocking
pounds,
opponents out.
109.32 kilos
Sparring partners
for
out in the
Filip
gym. And
Hrgovic.
this could be the heavyweight future.
17 stone 3, perfect physical shape there for Hrgovic. He was the one that cut David Hay's eye when the Fury Hay fight had to be abandoned, and even then back in those years, we'd heard about him. He is gathering steam, gathering pace, and Matt, he says he wants to fight any heavyweight right now.
Yeah, and I believe he's not far away. He's only had 9 fights, but he had nearly 30 fights in the World Series of boxing, with 5 3-minute rounds against top world-class.
Hrgović v. Molina.
He's years ahead
12
of
rounds
where
for
he
the
should be.
WBC International Heavyweight
He's gonna
Championship.
move quickly.
Saturday night, Diriyah, Saudi
Arabia, live on DAZN and Sky Sports Box Office. Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing in association with Team Sauerland, Don King Productions, and Skills Challenge Entertainment.
The heavyweights who have the opportunity to steal a little bit of the show from the main protagonists. Eric Molina has been stopped on a few occasions, but we know he has been operating, certainly as a pro, at a higher level so far than Hrgović. But let's see what Hrgović can do Saturday night.
Yeah, a really interesting contest. Speaking to Eric Molina earlier on in the week, he says he's had 8 weeks preparation. He never normally gets 8 weeks preparation. He can fight Molina, and he can certainly bang as well. So this is a good test for Hrgović, and it will tell us a little bit more about where he's at and whether he's ready to step up to that next level, fringe world contenders, or even world title shots.
Yep, 2020 is going to be fascinating to see the young come through. Daniel Dubois, of course, Joe Joyce back home. This guy, Filip Hrgović. We've got so many just bubbling under the scene and really drawing from what's happened in the heavyweight division in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's on fire again right now, the heavyweight division. When the heavyweight division's on fire, boxing's on fire. Everything trickles down, and that's why we're so intrigued in the main event. Joshua, for us to win, it's key. It makes us. He's a huge superstar, and if he wins his titles back, he's back to where he was.
Big British interest now. One of our top fighters is about to get up to the scales in Dillian Whyte.
He's the former WBC International Heavyweight Champion and World Title Challenger, the Viking, Mariusz Vach.
Mariusz Vach, one of the many men who've been around the scene for a long, long time. He's fought most people, sparred everyone else, 35 wins in 40 fights.
26 victories, only 1 defeat, 18 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the WBC Interim Heavyweight Champion of the World, fighting out of Brixton, London, England, the Body Snatcher, Dillian Whyte.
Well, a huge reception for Dillian Whyte, back in action for the first time since that victory over Oscar Rivas. He's had difficulties out of the ring. He's legally not allowed to say anything at the moment about those, but what he has had is frustrating times. He's thought about possibly walking away, but he hasn't. He's back. 19-4 for the big man from Poland, Mariusz Vach. And Dillian, good to have him back in a ring where he does his best work.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's been looking forward to this for some time now. He looks in great shape.
Let's see what he weighs. Not much notice for this fight.
271.1 pounds, 19 stone 5 pounds, 122.92 kilos for Dillian Whyte.
Well, he is heavy, almost 19.5 stone. And he said to us in the fighters' minis he wouldn't worry about what he came in at. He comes in at what he's done. He's been ticking over in the gym. But that's just a sign, Matt, that he hasn't had that much warning for a fight, which he should win, and should win it fairly comfortably. But Mariusz Vach's been around.
Yeah, I mean, the form rate suggests Dillian beats Mariusz Vach, definitely, but is it going to be the same Dillian that we've seen of recent times? He's coming quite a bit heavier than normal there, and no matter who you are, I know heavyweights don't have to make weight, but you're carrying 7, 8, 9, 10 pound extra than what you normally would. It's going to affect your performance. You're going to be sluggish. Also, what's his conditioning like coming in? It suggests that it's not as good as normal.
So fascinating to see how Dillian Whyte prepares to re-enter the ring. It's been a good 3 or 4 years for him as he's knocking on the door for that elusive world title shot. Watch how Dillian gets on Saturday night. Of course, we have the big ones to come. Povetkin and Hunter and of course Ruiz and Joshua. Apologies to anyone at home who's had audio difficulties with the technical issues, one or two of them, but hopefully you've heard the dulcet tones of Matt Macklin.
I've brightened it up.
And Spencer Oliver.
Yep, we're here and loving every minute of this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to weigh in the co-featured bout of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the WBA Heavyweight Eliminator. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with World of Boxing and Skills Challenge Entertainment. Now making his way to the stage, 18 victories, only 1 defeat. He's got 12 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He's the 2012 United States National Gold Medalist and the reigning, defending WBA Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Michael the Bounty Hunter.
Well, it's been good being around Team Hunter this week. Michael, a very bright guy and a bright new face in heavyweight boxing. He's gathering momentum since that defeat to Alexander Usyk. He's a small heavyweight, but Spencer is a very good one.
Yeah, he certainly is. You know, and he's used to fighting big heavyweights. Martin Bakole, he'd beaten Martin Bakole and won that fight quite comfortably. I spoke to him in the week, and he says, yes, he is small, but this is where the weight that he's comfortable at. He uses that size to his advantage, speed in and out, puts the combinations together. So, yeah, he's one of the top heavyweights out there, and he's been really buzzing this week. Hunter, lovely guy to be around.
Alexander Povetkin.
Still very popular, Alexander Povetkin. He might be 40 now, but he said to us last night he feels 25 or 30. Only 2 defeats to Klitschko and Joshua. Olympic gold medalist, of course, and a former world heavyweight champion. Hunter says he will poke him like the lion and then he will skin him like a cat. That's better than your little cliches.
Certainly is. He's really up for this one, Hunter. But this is where we're going to find out if he can really compete at the top level. You know, we've seen Povetkin's proved in his last fight against Fury that he's still got plenty left in the tank. So, yep, really looking forward to this.
The former Olympic gold medalist and heavyweight champion of the world from Russia, Alexander Povetkin.
Alexander Povetkin, he's had 37 fights, 35 victories, and most recently against Hughie Fury. He's been camping out in Britain.
Yeah, a really good win for him against Hughie Fury, who's very mobile, done a lot of movement. But Povetkin, very experienced, very clever in the ring, good ring general, cuts the ring off really well. This is a great fight, this is, because Povetkin's still very dangerous, great left hooker. But I really like the way Michael Hunter spoke at the fighters' meetings. He seems a man full of confidence, very much a case of not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog, and that's Michael Hunter. He's got that fighting spirit, and this will be a huge win for him if he gets this and really elevate him to that next level.
It's a terrific matchup of experience against the youth coming through. Alexander Povetkin and Michael Hunter, great clash of styles as well. The strength and solidity and seasoning of Povetkin and the skill set of Michael Hunter, trained by Hasim Rahman, former world heavyweight champion, of course, who's been a big interviewee for many this week because of what happened with him and Lennox Lewis, winning the title and then losing it at the first defense. Povetkin Hunter should be a really appetizing 12-rounder and a great fight to support the big one. We're just going to take a slight pause. Hope you've enjoyed the stream so far. And shortly we'll be joining our colleagues at Sky Sports News as well for you to watch. But Matt, just sum up what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I think, look, there's no surprises. It's predominantly a heavyweight card, so there's no hiccups on the scale. They all look in great condition. They all look really happy to be here. There's a great turnout here, a lot of intrigue, a lot of interest. But I think everyone really wants to see this big fight coming up now, which is Anthony Joshua in the main event.
Thanks very much. We'll take a quick pause.
Boxing in association with Skill Challenge Entertainment, AJ Boxing, and TGB Promotions, sponsored by our title partner, Public Investment Fund, and JD Sports. The Clash on the Dunes, 12 rounds of boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world sanctioned by the WBA, the IBF, the IBO, and the WBO. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let's bring challenger and champion to the scales. First, the challenger now on the stage. He captured Olympic gold and went on to become the world heavyweight champion with a record of 23 fights, 22 victories, 21 of those 22 by knockout, only one defeat. That's why he's here for the rematch from London, England, former heavyweight champion of the world, AJ Joshua.
Well, very good afternoon and welcome back to Riyadh in the capital of Saudi as Anthony Joshua makes his way towards the scales. And now the introduction of the champion.
Outstanding record, 34 fights, 33 victories, 22 wins by knockout, only one defeat. Representing his Mexican heritage and fighting out of Imperial, California, USA, the reigning, defending WBA, IBF, WBO, IBO heavyweight champion of the world, Andy the Destroyer Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz has been hugely popular throughout this whole week with a lot of the people here. He's a very nice, likeable sort of a guy, always got a big smile on his face as well, and he's won an awful lot of fans ever since he shocked the world and captured the world title. So Anthony Joshua is going to be the first man on the scales. Adam Smith and Matt Macklin are with me as usual, and we've talked about it all week, haven't we, Adam? The fact that Anthony Joshua does look a little bit lighter.
He looks a lot lighter. The shoulders are different, the physique is different. We noticed it the other day. If it's around about 237, that is fantastic weight, I think, for Joshua, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked a lot lighter than we've seen him for a long time. I thought for a while that he's been too bulky, a lot more muscle, more oxygen, less movement. This is a very, very positive thing for Joshua.
That's the lightest by some way in a world heavyweight title fight Anthony Joshua has. Lightest ever was 16.5, but for example, he was 17.4 for the Joseph Parker fight. That's really light, Fraser.
17 stone below, of course, he is now 16 stone. 4 was the lightest he's been for a long, long time. Here we have now the champion, Andy Ruiz Jr., with the Mexican hat on, as he loves to show his heritage. And we'll see what this weight settles on now. Wait for the announcement from Michael Buffer. 19 stone 2 he was in the first fight. 20 stone 3, my word, gentlemen. What do you think to that?
Wow, that is 19.2 in the Garden, his heaviest ever 21.3, but that is a massive increase. A lot of people thought he was going to come in lighter. He told us at the fighter meetings he would come in heavier for power. Matt, what do you make of it?
I'm stuck for words. A stone over the weight is a considerable amount. I'm really pleased Joshua came in a lighter, the lightest spin for in a world title fight. I think that's a really positive thing. He's going to use speed and movement, but I think no secrets what Andy Ruiz is looking to come out and do. He's looking to come out and he's going to try and get close to Joshua. He's trying to try and bully him up close.
Fraser, what a huge weight difference. In the Garden, 17.9 to 19.2, a stone and a half. 3 stone here plus the difference.
That's absolutely incredible, and the last chance that the pair of them get to stare into each other's eyes before we get to the fight itself. The Clash on the Dunes tomorrow night in Diriyah, about an hour or so away from here. It promises to be another historic event, but the headline from the weigh-in is that Anthony Joshua will be giving away over 3 stone to Andy Ruiz Jr. when the two of them meet here tomorrow night, which is more than any of us could probably have expected.
Yeah, I think we've all believed Joshua would come in light, whether it was around about 16.11, 17, 17.2. You know, he basically hinted at that, and we saw that in the workouts on Tuesday night. We thought Andy Ruiz would come in slightly heavier. I feared he'd come in maybe about 19.5, but that's a whopping weight for Ruiz, who's coming for power. But we saw, Matt, at the workouts on Tuesday, he's still got that hand speed.
Yeah, I mean, he still carries good hand speed. He looks quite explosive. He puts those combinations together really fast, and even his movement, his rhythm, he looks like a natural fighter. You know, Joshua sometimes looked a bit too bulky upper body, a bit robotic at times, but a bit mechanical. But I think, and I'm really pleased that Joshua's come in as light as he has. I think he'll be a lot more agile. He'll have better speed. His conditioning will be better. His gas in the tank will be a lot better. He won't tire as easily. But I'm wondering. I wanted him tactically. I was hoping tactically he'd stand his ground and really get Ruiz respect. But with that weight difference and Ruiz being so strong, will that be harder now to use those tactics?
We'll see. It all will be revealed, of course, tomorrow night here in Saudi Arabia. For the moment, join us again a little bit later. We'll be hearing from the two main men themselves very, very soon.
Ruiz Jr. versus Joshua 2. Brought to you by Beats by Dr.Dre.